And for our first one, we wanted to pick a really like a big, broad topic, something called multiple intelligences. Here's the backstory. So about a year ago, I'm in class, and a student, really capable student, we're doing something kind of hard, and we're having a hard time with it, and they go, "I'm not smart." And it seems kind of innocent, like an innocent thing to say, but it sounded like they meant it. That statement actually, "I am not smart," or "you're not smart," or "they're smart," or "she's smart," it's actually meaningless. And today, for the next 10, I'm going to talk for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to do a little activity. I don't know many quotes, but this is one that I know. It's by Henry Ford, and he said, "Or they think you can, or you think you can't. You're right." So this super capable student, if they believe, like in their heart of hearts, I don't know, I can't read their mind, but if they think they're not smart, guess what? It doesn't matter how capable they are, they're not smart, right? It's the power of positive thinking, or the power of negative thinking in this case. It matters. The thoughts matter. In 1983, a gentleman named Howard Gardner wrote a book called Multiple Intelligences. And it's a long book, but honestly, you can boil like that whole book down into like this picture. What he said was, instead of saying there's one kind of intelligence, he argued that there were 8. Some are simpler, some are not so simple. Musical intelligence, or music smarts. Pretty self-explanatory. If you are a good singer or a good guitar player, that would make you strong. That would be a strength of yours, musical intelligence. Bodily kinesthetic is kind of a fancy word, but it can be sort of simplified to body smart, meaning like, how smart are you about your body? Like, do you eat well? Do you exercise? Are you athletic? Do you dance well? Body smart. Spatial's a little more complicated. They call it picture smart. The best example I can think of is, I know like in 7th grade, you do that SketchUp program where you make things out of 3D objects, and it's harder than it looks. If you're good at that, if you're good at manipulating 3D objects in your head, you probably have spatial intelligence. Nature smart, pretty self-explanatory. Are you knowledgeable about animals? Are you knowledgeable about nature? Do you like taking walks in the woods? These kinds of things make you nature smart. Logic smart, or they call it logical mathematical. Again, pretty self-explanatory. Linguistic is a fancy word for language. So word smart is what linguistic intelligence is. Now these two are a little tricky, intrapersonal and interpersonal. To understand these, you got to know intra and inter. Maybe some of you know this word. There's a word called intramural. Intramural. When you go to college, or even high school, you'll play intramural sports. When you're in college and you play like this dorm plays that dorm, or this fraternity plays that fraternity, that's intra. You play yourself. It's inside of the school. That's as opposed to like interscholastic sports. Inter means between, right? So between two schools. So intra, right here. Intrapersonal intelligence is being smart about yourself. Do you know yourself? Do you know your strengths? Do you know your weaknesses? Astonishingly, I know adults who don't know themselves particularly well. So it's not as easy as one might think. Interpersonal intelligence is intelligence between people. Are you well liked? Are you a strong leader? Do you play well with others? These kinds of things. So there they are, 8 intelligences. Now, before I move on, already you can see some problems with this theory. Like even in language, like language is a lot of things. It's, among other things, it's reading, it's writing, it's speech. And I know some people who are great talkers and not great writers, and vice versa. So, who knows how many intelligences are. Let's just say there are multiple ones. And for today, we're going to say 8, just for simplicity. What do I wish that student had said instead of saying, "I am not smart"? One thing they could have said is, "I am not good at technology." In some ways, how is this a little more accurate? Somebody used like multiple intelligence theory, which you know a little bit already. Why is this a little more accurate, Joshua?
If you say "I am not smart," it's indicating that you're not smart at anything, not math, not tech. If you specify it to "I am not good at tech," or I'm not good at technology, well, then they know that you might not be good at technology, but you're good at other things.
Exactly. So even then, that's not the best way to even frame it. Probably the best way to frame it is using what's called growth mindset. And it's something like this is a little longer, but it's much more accurate. Technology may not be a strength of mine yet, but I can improve if I wish. That's growth mindset. And in the minds of growth mindset, there's actually no such thing as a weakness. There's just relative strengths, like you're super strong at this and not as strong at this. In fact, I try not to say weakness. I try to say a not strength yet. Sounds different, but there's actually a world of difference between those two things. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Some of you are thinking, Matt, I went online. I took an IQ test. And as a matter of fact, I got 140. I'm a genius. I am a genius. 100 is supposed to be average for an IQ test, and below 100 is less than average, and all these things. Again, you gotta be super, super careful with IQ tests. The intelligence test, like an hour ago, and it was all like word puzzles and math puzzles, which is great, but it's like, newsflash, you're not a genius. You're not. Right? You're really good at these two things. Congratulations. You know, congratulations. You're good at taking IQ tests. Right? Right. Which is a narrow band of intelligence. What would you say to Einstein? You would say Einstein's a genius. What's a better thing to say about Einstein, Evan? Einstein was a genius at physics and relative and abstract thinking and whatever you want to call it. Just don't call it genius because it's not that accurate. So I hear this sometimes. Sometimes somebody in the audience might be thinking, well, what if I'm not really great at anything? I'm not great at any of those things in the pile. Like I'm just like okay at all of them. One of the best metaphors one of the best pieces of advice that I ever got. Life is a whole lot like fumbling around in the dark, looking for the light switch. Right? And the light switch is like a metaphor for like what you should do with your life. Accountant, lawyer, whatever it might be. What are you great at? And finding what you're great at. So it's funny. I hear people like agonizing. My niece agonizing over what college she could go to. I didn't tell this to her. But I was like, it doesn't matter that much. They're both great schools. Like just fumble around. At the end of the day, you're fumbling around in the dark, trying to find out what you're great at. And it took me, I wasn't a teacher until I was 28. Right? I was a whole lot of things that were not a teacher before then and not particularly good at them. And I was just, like I said, fumbling around the dark, looking for the light switch. So, okay, enough talking. Let's do stuff. It's activity time. We're excited. So in 2 minutes, you go back to your Delta. You get one of these. We're making an MI pie. Multiple intelligences pie. This is my pie. I made this. So what are your strengths and what are your not strengths yet? And this is my frats one. And like I said, I quit cello in 5th grade. Right? Still got a teeny tiny little musical slice. Math's pretty hefty. I'm good at SketchUp. And my interpersonal, just like average-ish. Okay. Right? So that's my pie. Now notice this little sticky note in the corner. This is harder than it sounds actually to get the sizes quite right. So you do a rough draft, a sticky note on a scrap piece of paper, maybe on the back of it, I guess you could. But anyway, do a rough draft, trust me on this one, and I would do that in pencil. I used a ruler, that's optional. I know, again, my art's, my drawing talent, intelligence is like rock bottom, so the best I can do is a smiley face if you want to get creative with it. And when you're done, you put your name in the back, give your pie to your Delta coach, and I'm going to hang him up probably by the end of this week.